There's no rush to enter a puppy to live rabbit or hare. The problem is if you enter too early, you will definitely incur problems that will be with the dog probably for the rest of its life. You're much better to go late, from my experience, rather than early. In Purdy's case, she's a whippet type lurcher. She's a bitch, she's matured very quickly, and we thought that around 11 to 12 months she will be capable of moving over from a rabbit skin dummy to actual live game. But there's one final step that she must overcome before she actually does that, and that is the retrieve of a cold rabbit. A lot of dogs will jib at this stage. They've never come into contact with the actual real thing before. They've done everything else, but they've not actually picked up a rabbit, which is very, very different. No matter how skillful you are at making artificial dummies, when it comes to the real thing, very often there'll be a reluctance. But in this next piece of film, what we're going to do is put together almost the whole spectrum of what we've gone through over the past 9 or 10 months. And we're going to take Purdy out onto a piece of land. We're going to hide a freshly killed rabbit in a piece of cover, and we're going to put her through first of all the sit. Then we're going to send her out and say, where is it, which is the command to go and hunt for the dummy. Hopefully she will find the hidden rabbit. Then we're looking for a successful pickup, a good retrieve. She will have to jump a rabbit-proof fence to get back, and hopefully we'll get the good presentation at the end that we've had throughout the training. This is how it went. So the rabbit's already been hidden, and Purdy's been sent off in pursuit of it. As you can see, it's quite a breezy day, and it's probably not the best day for a puppy to find a hidden rabbit. But she's at the stage now where we think she's mentally mature enough to be able to cope with this. Again, I've sent her away and asked her, where is it, Purdy, where is it? She knows that means there's a hidden dummy somewhere in this rough grass, and she will continue to hunt while ever she's given the command, where is it? If she starts to lose interest and comes back, you may have to even walk in a little bit to give her encouragement, but she must keep at it. I mean, this is good training for when she's actually hunting to flush game from cover. You see, she's got good concentration, and that is the sign that she's beginning to mature. Now at this stage I've just walked in to give her a little bit more assistance, and keep giving that command, where is it, Purdy? She knows that there's something hidden in there when I ask her that question, and now she's found the rabbit successfully. As she's coming up the hill, she's got an obstacle to get over to get the rabbit back to me. Jumps the rabbit-proof fencing, and there's the delivery to finish. So here we are then, 12 months on from picking that funny little mottled merle puppy out of a litter. We've finally come to Judgment Day, and Ian and myself travelled up to Sarah Moffat's ground on the Scottish borders to actually enter Purdy to rabbits. And here she came across her first test. Now over the past months we've introduced Purdy to as much livestock as possible, but these hill sheep up in Scotland are very flighty creatures, and you can see there's a group of sheep just on the hillside there, and we just wondered how Purdy would react if these sheep started to play up. But fortunately she only gave them a very fleeting glance, and as the sheep disappeared she paid no further attention. So that was the first test passed, you can say. Now feeling a little bit more settled, Purdy's not yet learnt to mark a warren, but she showed some interest around this one. So we decided to enter a ferret. Now what we were looking for hopefully was a bolt where the dog could get a reasonable run, and possibly an early catch, and that would have certainly made everyone's day, but as it happened, it was not to be. Now set a net, this was just a single hole warren, and we'd set a net there in case we got one rabbit into the net and perhaps a second one bolted for a run. At this stage it was obvious something had gone wrong. We could hear the rabbit squeal underground. I quickly entered my arm into the warren, managed to grab hold of the rabbit, but just watch Purdy's reaction. Now the ferret's dangling on the end of the rabbit there, but Purdy shows no interest whatsoever in the ferret. She's only interested in that rabbit. And immediately I tell her to leave it, she does so. Well, that was the first rabbit of the day, but not exactly what we wanted. So now the rabbit started to bolt, and that's Purdy's first ever chase, and it's not a bad one. And the thing that impressed us here is not the fact that she missed the rabbit, but just how quickly she actually returned. The recall is all important, and this is ground that's heaving with rabbits. We didn't want Purdy to get off and finish up 3 or 4 miles away pursuing rabbits, but she was very quickly back, and that's a good sign that all the work's been well worth it. You can see us here putting Purdy in that stay. This is what it was all about in the months when we were learning to stay. We've got her at one side of a big warren, I'm watching the other side, and now it's just a waiting game. We decided to do away with the nets and hopefully get a bolt and try to get Purdy a successful catch. Well, there went the rabbit, and unfortunately quickly, as soon as she was on it, it went back to ground. But what she did learn is something about marking warrens. With all this obedience, what she must learn over the next few months will be fieldcraft, but unfortunately we can't teach any of that using dummies. It must be learnt in the field, and this is an ongoing lesson. Again, you can see Purdy react when I gave her that hand signal and said down. She immediately reacted. Again, it's a big warren, and you need the dog to stay at one side and a man at the other. Even when you've got nets down, you need assistance on these, because if a rabbit gets into a net and the dog's not quickly on it, then unfortunately it can be quickly on its way. But that one, we thought actually she'd caught that one at this stage, and we were starting to celebrate a bit prematurely, but when she returned, unfortunately she looked like she just probably took his scut off, but she'd not got him. But again, it was a very good return. Here again, waiting patiently. And unfortunately it was all for nothing. That rabbit just showed and straight back in again. But again, Purdy's learning to mark. She's beginning to associate the holes in the ground with the rabbit. Then one did bolt, and it was a very steep downhill on bad ground. She never really got on terms with that rabbit. This one here gave a bit better, a bit more sport. And again, it looked as though she might make a catch, but we were just at this stage thinking about calling it a day and having a fresh start the following morning. But then luck suddenly turned our way, and suddenly heard a bit of ominous thumping below ground, and a rabbit bolted, went straight into the open, and Purdy made a successful catch. And at this stage you can imagine my feelings. I was hoping for that retrieve to hand and a good delivery of a live rabbit, and the past 12 months training paid off. So with Purdy's first ferreted rabbit in the bag, we've got one final hurdle left, which was to actually catch a rabbit on the lamp. I must admit at this stage I was very confident in Purdy. She'd done everything better than we'd ever expected, and certainly working dummies with the lamp was probably her strongest point. She retrieved even better by night time than day, and so we were very confident in what we were going to do. But if I could offer some advice to anyone entering a lurcher puppy to lamping, is to pick your night very carefully. Get the blackest, windiest night of the year, and pick your rabbit very carefully. It's vital that to make a successful lamp dog, the dog wants to catch reasonably early, and success is vital. The last thing you want in a lamping lurcher is a dog which will open up or yap, and so the more successful the dog is on the lamp, the less chance of it incurring this fault. And opening up in a lamping lurcher is about the worst fault you can have. So Ian and myself set out, and we walked I don't know how many fields, and lamping on its own is difficult enough, but you can imagine when you're carrying a camcorder with you and all the rest of the stuff that you need, it was no easier. But eventually we did come upon a rabbit in a piece of set-aside, and everything was against him. He was the growth around him was very long, he couldn't run in it, Ian and myself were literally standing on the warren that he wanted to get to, and it looked like the perfect chance. Anyway, I won't tell you too much and spoil the fun for you, but I think the best thing we can do really is go lamping. So this was the scene, the rabbit in a piece of set aside, and we knew that we were on the warren, we know this land very well, and Purdy was quickly out and onto him. It was a very quick catch, and again the retrieve, and that's a live rabbit, and as you can see it's a very live rabbit. The next field, and we got one on the run. You'll have to excuse the vision at this stage. Ian was doing his best, but it's very, very difficult to film dogs lamping, but forget about the lamping bit and just watch this retrieve. Second one in the bag. Right, well that's the first 12 months of Purdy's training undertaken, and to be fair, that's as far as we can go on the obedience side really. What we need now is for Purdy to develop her own skills, hunting, marking and catching ability, and that can only come from actual work in the field. But what we have done, we've established that we've got a dog now that is a great asset to the team, and hopefully a problem to no one in the countryside. Well, that's it from me and Purdy for now. We look forward to seeing you around the show sometime, but we're going to try and catch one for the pot. We'll see you later.